We heard there in the funeral ceremony two eulogies, one from President Obama and one from President Bill Clinton as well. Your reflections as ambassador to the US on the language that both those two men used?
Well, first, good to be with you, Anna, even on this sad day. I think it's an amazing testament to Shimon PERES as an individual, but also what Shimon PERES stood for. He stood for love of this country, for its defense, as well as for its peace. He sought to place Israel among the nations of the world in a role of peace, in a role of technology and progress. And I think those remarks, those goals, that vision of Shimon PERES was reflected in the remarks both of President Clinton and President Obama. And both presidents talked about the very special relationship between the United States and this country, the State of Israel.
Mahmoud Abbas, the Palestinian Authority president, was also there. Of course, he was in the front row. How significant will his presence and his position, I suppose, at the ceremony itself be for Israelis going forward?
Well, I can't comment on Palestinian politics. I'm sure that they'll come up with a certain degree of criticism from some people in his own camp. But the gesture was noted. He was seated in the front row along with dignitaries from around the world. I think that has a significance as well. And Prime Minister Netanyahu, in his remarks, turned to President Abbas and said, I am committed to fulfilling Shimon Peres' vision of achieving peace with all of our neighbors, but of course including the Palestinians.
The message, of course, through many of the eulogies from the world leaders and from the family members as well of Shimon Peres, was a message of peace. That was his legacy, certainly what they hoped to be his legacy. In your view, is there anyone currently in Israeli political life who can carry forward that message for him?
I think it's not so much a matter of messaging, it's a matter of doing. And the Israeli government, I'm a member of that government, is working rigorously to achieve peace. This is an extraordinary moment for Israel and its foreign relations, including our relations with many of the Sunni Arab states, which in the past regarded us as an enemy. Today are looking at Israel as a protector, even as a potential ally. And we hope to achieve peace not only with the Palestinians, but with the entire Middle Eastern region, because we face very similar threats, whether in the form of the Islamic regime of Iran, ISIS, of course, Muslim Brotherhood, terror throughout the region. We need each other. And peace is not a luxury. Peace is a necessity for so many peoples of this region. The government is committed to achieving that peace.
And of course, President Obama coming towards the end of his presidency of the United States at the moment. He's struggled throughout his 8 years in office to try to bring about any progress with regards to a two-state solution in Middle East peace. There were handshakes and pats on the back between Mr. Obama and also Mr. Netanyahu, but still somewhat frosty relations.
Well, the two have had their disagreements. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it. We've disagreed over the peace process. We particularly disagreed over the Iran nuclear deal. But the relationship of the two men, and I'm talking about someone who was present in virtually all of their meetings, and President Obama has met with Prime Minister Netanyahu more frequently, I think, than any other foreign leader. Their personal relations in the meetings are very candid, very open, and frankly very friendly. And just last week they met in New York, again had a very friendly meeting, and Israel and the United States, the government of Prime Minister Netanyahu and the administration of Barack Obama, signed the largest military aid package which the United States has given to any country, and gave it to Israel, which is an historic achievement. So yes, there have been differences, but beneath those differences, or underlying those differences, is one of the deepest and most multifaceted alliances which the United States has had with any foreign nation in its post-World War II period. That is the U.S.-Israel alliance.
Michael Oren, it's wonderful to have you on the program and to get your reflections on this very, very sad day and poignant day as well. Michael Oren is the former Israeli ambassador to the United States. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna.